Yeah. Now, let me make these things clear.
Yes.
In economics, countries do not overvalue their currencies because they want import. US and China have been constantly at currency war because they want to continuously devalue their currency so that imported goods will be expensive. And then locally made goods will be cheaper, both locally and internationally. And by so doing, you continuously create jobs and you continuously become competitive. So the Chukwu is telling you there how you improve people's earnings and the purchasing power. It does not go like that. The only way you can improve people's earnings continuously is by creating jobs for them, giving them jobs, and then they grow in terms of income. But if you do a cut and join process based on, you put this fact because this will come out, and you put that, that is why we are where we are. So what I'm saying is that if you say we're out of recession, then you tell me what took us to recession. Have we addressed those problems? Because I do not agree because the economy has grown by 0.1% because economic theory says that. Then you quickly rush and say, yeah, we're out of recession. You have to look at the fundamentals, the earnings, the investment government has done, the investment the private sector has done, so to aggregate and agree that these investments are actually helping us to get out of recession. When you do that, then it makes economic sense, even to a layman. But when you start churning out figures, facts, this happen, at the university we agree on all those conventions. But when I came out of the universities and as other people who have gone through that process, we have to agree that factors that affect an economy are actually factors that are internal, not external. So what I'm telling you is that the only way to grow this economy out of recession is to horizontally grow the economy. And by horizontal growth of the economy, I mean there will be a lot of domestic inputs into the economy and less external inputs into the economy. So as the result, when the economy starts growing, you start seeing that inflation is dropping. And then you start seeing that more exports are taking place and the few imports are coming in. But when we depend on these figures because we are importing a lot of things overseas and now we are subsidizing the dollars. Actually, government is subsidizing the dollar because we have gotten 30,000 foreign reserve. 30 billion foreign reserve. So we have to quickly spend it by subsidizing the dollar. And those in the banking sector, in the financial sector, people like Chukwu, but I'm not saying that Chukwu is involved, are the beneficiaries of this because they are actually giving money to importers of finished goods. They are not giving money to those who are buying plant and equipment to upgrade and to expand their manufacturing activities. And so that's the problem.
Okay, since you mentioned China, I'd like to stay with you. Why is China the major destination for manufacturers now? Cheap labor. There are 180 million Nigerians.
Cheap labor. And no, let me tell you.
And I assume that that equals. Please just listen to me first, Mr.
Massively investing. Okay.
There are 180 million of us in this place. Many of them youth who are actually jobless. Why have we not been able to transform Nigeria into a China in this part of the world? Because we have the human capital. Yes, we're listening to you.
We can do it.
We can do it.
We can do it.
How?
First thing we have to do is to reduce importation. And the next thing we have to do is to invest in infrastructure. If you don't have the money, you borrow. If you know that if you invest in the power sector by spending about $50 billion, borrowing $50 billion in the next 5 years, you'll be able to move our power production from 5,000 megawatts to 25 or 30,000 megawatts. And that will now reduce drastically the cost of doing business. And that will make small businesses to come on board. And then you make it extremely difficult for importation to take place by denying importers of finished goods access to forex. Then what you will see is that those who are actually exporting finished goods from China to Nigeria will start relocating their factories to Nigeria. because they want to take advantage of the market, and they also want to take advantage of the low cost of doing business in Nigeria.
All right, thank you.
When these things happen,
we need to wind down. So let's take some of these comments so that both of you can respond to them. This one's come from Amechi Remy says, I don't agree with the guest speaker. He says, cheap Naira can be a huge blessing for Nigeria as that will encourage local manufacturing. That's from Amechi. Then this one is Tunde from Australia. Tunde says, the reason why the prices of goods and services will not come down even if we exit recession is because of the Nigerian factor, which is greed. Even businesses that have no connection with Forex will blame the dollar rate for price hike. Tunde from Australia. Want to respond to that?
Well, I wouldn't blame it on greed. You know, we're discussing off camera, and you said, what of the price of Gary that has gone up? I said, look, what happened is because there's a shift in demand from other products like rice to local products like Gary, where there was no commensurate increase in production. So you find out that, look, if production remains constant and there's an increase in demand, then the price of that product will go up. These are basic economics. So whether it has foreign components.
Sorry, I'm laughing here. Isaac says, as I speak to you, last week the price of a paint rubber of Gary was 800 naira, but today, Saturday, is 1,500. You can imagine.
Oh God.
Well, I'm
Gary.
at that jump. But the basic thing I was saying is this: if you have a shift in consumption from foreign imported goods because they became very expensive, like rice, to local goods. So there's a substitution effect.
Well, there's local rice.
Yeah, but the local rice production is not up to the demand of rice in the country. So that had the effect of increasing the price of those commodities. But one of your tweeters had actually asked that he doesn't agree with the fact that revaluation of the currency. I'm not advocating for revaluation of the currency, but what I was saying is that if you want to improve the purchasing power of the Naira, that the only way you can improve the purchasing power of the Naira is if your currency strengthens.
Okay. All right. We're going now. So let's put this all together in winding down. Mr. Obaram and Mr. Chukwu, I'll read out this comment and then both of you please weigh in as we wind down in 30 seconds each. Emeka Logistics says, our leaders were deceived by the IMF to devalue the Naira, increase fuel price, and made Forex inflow and outflow difficult. Then came recession. In closing, Mr. Mbaram and Mr. Chukwu, your closing thoughts.
I can hear.
Your closing thoughts, please, as we wind down.
Okay, my closing thoughts are this. We must go back to the drawing board and restructure our fiscal policy and our monetary policy, and make it difficult for imports and make it easier for Nigerians to produce what we consume. If you make prices of imported goods cheaper, then Nigerians will not consume locally made goods. So that is my government should go back to the drawing board and the restructure economy. But above all, fiscal federalism is needed.
Okay.
Well, my take is that the economy is coming out of recession. We are seeing the green shoots. But coming out of recession does not necessarily mean that it will be preventing the welfare and well-being of Nigerians. We need to have an inclusive growth and economic development in the country. For us to be able to bring a lot more people out of poverty, this economy needs to grow at a rate of close to 10%. China grew at an average of more than 10% for more than 20 years and was able to take close to 800 million people out of poverty. The Nigerian economy that grows at less than 5% will not have a material effect on the well-being of the citizens because our population is growing about 3%. Okay. Any growth below or around 3% will not have any effect on the welfare of the citizens. So we need to grow the economy by about 10%.
Okay. As we say, well, that's a good place to hang our thoughts on this conversation. Mr. Johnson Chukwu, MD Kawi Asset, and Mr. Odlim Emegbara, Development Economist. Thank you both for sharing your thoughts with us. Sunrise will be back shortly. Please don't go away.